It's time to turn your life-challenging moments into life-changing messages. Welcome to the Power Lift Stories podcast, where we are interviewing women whose stories will leave you lifted up, fired up, and fueled up with hope, courage, and inspiration. We want to thank our sponsor, Powerful Journey, who helps women tell their stories, write their books, and building a profitable brand around both. Join the masterclass or the Speakers Academy at phyllisjenkins.com. That is PhyllisJenkins.com. Now here's your host, Phyllis Jenkins.
Welcome. I'm Phyllis Jenkins, the founder of the Powerful Journey organization, and today we are back with another interview on the Power Lift Stories podcast. We are super excited that you're here, and our guest today is Miss Amber Thompson. Amber, welcome.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm super excited to have you here. And I met Amber, was it 2 years ago or 3 now?
I believe it was 2019.
Okay. So 2019, Amber came to the Powerful Journey Authors Academy and became an author. She stood on the stage of a Powerful Journey Women's Conference, shared her story, changed lives, and has now become an author 3 times or more. So I'm so excited to have you here and to have you to share your latest projects and your story with those who haven't heard it. Amber Dawn Thompson is an entrepreneur, certified life coach, author of Transformed, Delivered, Soaring with Gratitude, and other pocket-sized devotionals, all available on Amazon. Amber is an avid reader. She gets giddy at the sight of a clearance rack, and I love that, girl. I do too. And she is deemed the coupon queen by her 3 children. I would love to talk to you about that. That's great. When she isn't reading, when she isn't writing, when she isn't teaching or speaking publicly, she's probably binge watching episodes of Law and Order. How fun. Amber, welcome again. And I just want to have you share with our listeners, is there anything that I left off that they should know about Amber before we get into our interview?
I actually have 2 more books that are coming out.
How great.
Super exciting. When God gives us the opportunity to tell our story, it's just amazing. So
absolutely.
My 2 new books, Food for Thought, which is a collaboration, and the other book is The Relationship Survival Kit, How to Renew, Restore, Reset, which is another collaboration with 5 just amazing divine women of Christ. And so I'm super excited about those launching.
I'm excited and look forward to reading those as well. So let me ask you, Amber, why is it important to you to tell your story and to write your books?
So I wanted to start off saying that I actually didn't set out to write a book. So I really know for a fact that it's just God's divine intervention that it happened, because really the object was to just survive counseling. At the time when I first started really journaling again and writing, I was attending counseling every Monday. And it was extremely difficult because, as most people know, you attend counseling and then the processing is after you leave the office or leave the Zoom telehealth link or whatever. And so I would be in the car and my drug of choice has always been food. And so instead of driving to a location and binge eating something, I started placing a healthy snack on the seat of my car with my tablet. So I would have a notebook and tablet. I'm an old school person that still uses an ink pen or a mechanical pencil typically to write things down. And so that was how it started. And so hindsight, the importance of telling our story is that it freed me, and it's meant to free other people.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And we hear that time and time again when the women have gone through the Authors Academy or the Speakers Academy, and they have stood on the stage of the Powerful Journey Women's Conference and they share their stories. It is indeed freeing for them, but it goes out into the audience and it helps to free another woman who thought she was the only one going through that particular situation. So I'm grateful to God that you did your journaling. I am a big journaler. I have been journaling for over 40 years now. And actually, back when I was a little girl, Amber, they called it diaries. We had diaries. And so I actually started journaling back then. But what would you say to a woman who doesn't feel that journaling is something that would help her?
I would say just start is what I would say. I actually hadn't journaled up to that point for years. And similar to you, I actually had a diary that was gifted to me by my mother, and it had the lock and the key.
Yep.
And I wrote in it every single day. And so that was a process that I also started as a young girl. And it was honestly my saving grace going through counseling, processing through the pain of trauma from, at the hands of a parent and sexual abuse and being in situations of domestic violence. For me, I'm a very visual person. One of the things that I've really been gifted knowledge about is God meets us where we are. He relates to us where we are, how we relate. And so for me, I'm a visual individual. So writing things down and seeing them is something that allows me to be supported in processing. And so going to those counseling appointments and then afterwards writing down my feelings, because oftentimes when you're an individual who's experienced trauma at the hands of a parent, you don't know how to vocalize your feelings. You stuff your feelings and you hold them inside. And so for me, it helped me to process through and for it to be a brave space for me to really share with the Lord, this is really truly how I'm feeling. And then I got to a place through Powerful Journey where I was able to speak it vocally outward. So the things that were going on within me was first of all journaled on paper. So I would say just get started, because oftentimes I call it God doing a sneak attack. If God had come to me and said, Amber Dawn, you're going to write a book, I'd have said, no, I'm not. So he really had to do it in the way in which he always does things, which gifts us with healing. And then we have a clearer vision about the plan that he has for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Amber. Let's talk about some of your books and your story that you've tucked inside of the book, and how you hope that your story, the books, will go out and help others.
I really believe that the way in which they will go out in the world and help others is this just me being brave. My books are my real life. It's the things that really have happened to me. I have individuals that approach me and say, where did you get this from? And I was like, it's my journey. It's not where I am right now, but it's where I've come from, the things that God has transformed me, the way in which he's delivered me. And then my third book is Soaring with Gratitude. It was the way in which he turned adversity in my life into gratitude. And so I really believe that the real things that are going on with me, who is a real person, it's going to resonate with someone. They're going to read those pages And they're going to say, I can relate to that, and understand also that God is a relational God. He wants to commune with us. And so every single time that I write a book, it's literally like a birthing process and something being conceived and birthed out of me, because I'm being delivered from that place and space. But I also have gratitude for where I've come from. I learned to have gratitude, because God really does turn pain into purpose. And what was really some very painful times in my life, painful things to have experienced in my life, at the hands of people that I really trusted, adults. It helped me to be, not just be free, but break the chains at the root. And so I really say that in my introduction. So the way in which Holy Spirit really gifted me is that each of my introductions are a piece of my testimony. So it's almost like it's a trilogy, like the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, that the three books, Transformed, Delivered, and Soaring with Gratitude, each have a part of my testimony, and the way in which God just gifted me with that, 1 Peter 4:12 and 13, that there's abundant joy after the pain. So I pray that it resonates with other people, and that the right people, it's placed in the hands of those people.
For those who are listening today, would you share part of your testimony, part of your story, so that they'll get a taste or feel of what your books are about?
Absolutely. I experienced trauma, specifically sexual trauma, at the hands of a parent. And I was gifted.
Here's what
I was gifted with.
Start that sentence over so that I can have her edit out there.
So I experienced trauma at the hands of a parent, specifically sexual trauma. And part of my testimony, because I don't want to reveal it all, is that I was delivered from that space at the age of 12. And my mother was able to remove us from that environment, myself and my siblings. And then we started a new life. But when you have experienced trauma, oftentimes what happens is you're in broken pieces. And so those pieces, God has turned into peace through my journey.
Love that. He's taken those broken pieces and turned it into peace, P-E-A-C-E.
Yes.
That's the God that we serve. And for a woman who is listening today, perhaps you are feeling as if you're in broken pieces right now. Amber is a great example of how God can take those broken pieces, put them back together again, and to give you peace that passes all understanding. Others around you won't understand why you have so much peace, but deep inside, you will know why that peace is there. Amber, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And what would you say to another woman who is on the fence about sharing her story? One of the things that I believe, and with the Powerful Journey, it's a message that goes forth from me over and over and over again, is that you can turn your life challenges into a life-changing message, a message of hope, a message of inspiration, a message of encouragement that will go forth and help others to flourish on their journey. So what would you say to a woman who is watching today, who has tucked her story deep inside and is afraid to share it so that it can help heal not just herself, but others?
I would say just be brave. I would also say take that Peter-sized leap of faith. I have days even now where I just have to tell myself, just be brave, because it can be extremely difficult. It can be extremely challenging. There's a lot of emotion that's involved in all of our testimonies. And I know, specifically speaking from a place of being healed from sexual trauma, domestic violence, narcissistic environments, that it's an ongoing process. Healed is not a final destination. It's an ongoing process. And I had to learn to gift grace to myself. I do a really good job of loving others, and I had to learn to love myself to the extent that I love others and more, and just continue moving forward. I realized that it really doesn't make a difference what condition you're in, but what I say is just get to Him, H-E-M, the Hymn of Christ. You know, if you got to drag yourself there, if you have to grab a faith-filled friend's hand to get there, I do that, because there's still times when there are things in real life that trigger me. There are still things that happen. And then I write about it. I realize that my bravery, it not only frees me and moves me to a different level of healing, because I'm no longer the walking wounded at all. But when I stay in the now, you know, when I keep my mind where my body is, one of the things that I also have learned is the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. But what does he steal the most of is time. Time in the present, dwelling on the past with the intention of robbing us of our future. And I just made a declaration, like, I'm not going to allow you to rob me of my future, because my future, my healing, my processing, and my bravery is attached to other people winning and being victorious just like me.
Wow. What an amazing declaration. Absolutely powerful. Love that, Amber. Love that. Talk about some of the other work that you're doing. You and I talked briefly before we started the interview, and God has opened some great opportunities for you. So if you would, as we prepare to close, I'd love for you to share that, and then talk about, mention your books again and where they can get the books. We'll have that in the show notes as well, and how they can connect with you, Amber.
Praise God. So some of the projects that God has really just blessed me with are just amazing. But what I also wanted to mention is, I stated earlier that I didn't set out to write a book. And it was actually you that once we talked said, you don't just have one book, and you have books. And so I'm always just so thankful. And that's always at the forefront of my mind about the powerful journey, and how powerful the journey itself is, but how powerful your mission statement is and how it's been in my life. So I wanted to say thank you for that. And the projects that I'm related to literally unfolded like a red carpet of God's favor after completing the powerful journey. And so it's been a process of that unfolding over the last few years. So now I have a business partner, and her name is LaShawn Gunnels, and we have our business Soaring together. And I'm also a certified life coach, and I help women who have experienced trauma at the hands of a parent who no longer desire to live in pieces, but begin the journey of peace. And so I'm just super excited that I'm able to serve clients in that way. So I have my own life coaching business. And then I help other individuals write their own books. So that has been like so exciting to be able to, you know, pick up where you are, and for God to have just really presented me with opportunities, because I share about the powerful journey all the time in your organization. And so it's just amazing. The books are Transformed was my first book that was written during the powerful journey. Praise God. And Delivered is my second book. Delivered is a 21-day devotional that has a built-in workbook in it. And so it was so inspirational to hear from the Transform readers. And they said, the pages are so beautiful, because all of my books have butterflies on them and in them. And people said, we don't want to write on the pages. And so that inspired me to build in a place for people to actually have a space to write and journal and just to start somewhere. And then my third book, Soaring with Gratitude, is how God led me through times of adversity and turned it into a space of gratefulness and gratitude, not only for the knowledge of having a relationship with him, but the people that surround us, the opportunities, the situations and circumstances that we're able to journey through him. So that was amazing. And then my new book's coming out, the Relationship Survival Kit, which is a collaboration with 5 other women. And that launches the second week of April. And then my next book, Food for Thought. And then I have another book that is titled Catching Up as God is Releasing. And that is how individuals like myself who have experienced trauma, oftentimes your growth is stunted where you leave. And so for me, it was age 12. So even though I chronologically aged and got older every year, my growth was really stunted at the age of 12. And so much of my life was spent operating as a 12-year-old due to that trauma. And so Catching Up as God is Releasing talks about that and how God has gifted me those lessons and the things that I didn't get or wasn't able to get from those that brought me into this world. And so it's a wonderful, amazing story of just how God restores everything and nothing is wasted.
I love how he is using you, and thinking back to when I first met you and you not thinking that you even had one book in you.
I know.
And look how God is just having you to flourish with all of the books that are pouring out, but they're pouring out because you are brave and courageous to share your life story, the experiences, the challenges that God has brought you through. I applaud you. I applaud you for doing that. And because you are doing it, you are helping so many others. And that's what the Powerful Journey is all about. We are all about helping women to bring clarity to their stories, and then stand and tell that story with confidence at our Powerful Journey Women's Conferences, and then become published authors, because I truly believe that, Amber, even after God has brought us home to heaven, that these books are left for generation after generation after generation to continue to learn and to grow from the lessons that he has brought us through, the situations that he's brought us through. So with that said, let me invite everybody to come to our next Powerful Journey Women's Conference. It is next month, which is April 29th and 30th. This year, it is being held at the Collin College Conference Center in McKinney, Texas. We have 2 days of conference, and if you can't be in person, you can register to attend virtually. So we are super excited about it. Our theme is, you know my name, but you don't know my story. You know my name, but you don't know my story. The women who will stand on that stage Friday night and Saturday are sharing their stories, many publicly for the first time. And they have stepped out of their comfort zones so that they can let you know that you're not the only one that's walking through whatever situation, circumstance it is. So go to phyllisjenkins.com, PhyllisJenkins.com. Register today. We look forward to having you. And Amber, thank you again. It was a privilege and honor to have you go through the Powerful Journey Authors Academy back in 2019, and then to come back and revisit with you in 2022, and to see how the Lord is still pouring out into you as you are pouring out to others. Thank you again for being here. Is there any parting word that you want to say?
I would just say thank you so much to you, to the powerful journey. And you've got to go through the powerful journey because it's truly powerful. And it just sets you up for greatness, for God's greatness. Because oftentimes we have a good plan, but the good plan is not the God plan. So absolutely go through it because it's completely changed my life.
Thank you. Love that. And let me just add, the next set of classes will begin in May. The conference is April 29th and 30th, and the next set of Author Academy classes, our volume 2 of Telling Our Stories anthology, and the Speakers Academy classes all begin in May. So you still have time to come and join one of the classes. Amber, thank you again. May God continue to bless the works of your hands and open more and more doors of opportunity for you to share your story, the gifts that he's given to you, and most of all, your God life assignment. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Praise God for you too.
Okay, well, we will look forward to seeing you back next week. And remember, go tell your story.
Thank you for joining us today. If you are interested in being on the show, go to phyllisjenkins.com. You can also sign up for the Powerful Journey Masterclass or the Speakers Academy at phyllisjenkins.com.